So do you guys. That's the only thing you can kind of control is what comes out of your brain, your mouth, and your hands. I mean, it's all about the results that come out of you.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Thrive State Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. V, triple board certified MD and performance and longevity expert. And I just wanted to say, welcome back to another episode. If you are joining up for the first time, just know that the Thrive State Podcast is really about the tips, the mindset, the tools, the habits of elevating us to the next version of ourselves. So I bring on thought leaders and experts in nutrition, in fitness, in mindset, in business, to give you the tools so that you can take the information and become the next version of you. If you are a loyal listener, thank you so much. And if you haven't done so already, you could actually help this podcast grow by leaving us a 5-star review at ratethispodcast.com/ThriveState. Now, I'm really excited to have our next guest, which is Maria Kang. She went viral back in 2014 for a post that she created. It was a picture of her looking very fit, very athletic in front of her 3 young children with a caption, "What's your excuse?" Now, that gained a lot of attention. Her post went viral and she got a lot of media attention from it. Now, you might not know why it went viral, but we'll share on this podcast here of actually why she thought that went viral. So a little bit more about Maria Kang. She is an American fitness advocate, a coach, a blogger, and founder of the No Excuse Movement, a nonprofit organization which promotes a healthy lifestyle centered on diet and exercise. Residing in Sacramento, California, Maria actually began competing in beauty and fitness competitions as a teenager, winning several, including Miss Petite Teen International, Miss Philippines USA, and Miss Bikini California. She comes with a plethora of knowledge, not only for moms about what you need to do to actually become a no excuse human being. And really, honestly, it's really about caring for yourself. You're going to hear so many tips on this podcast. I'm super excited for you to know what it's like, what the reality is like to be a busy person, either focusing on your family or your career, but how you also need to focus for yourself, because that's the best way we can serve. Remember, put on your oxygen mask before you put it on for other people. That and so much more on this jam-packed podcast episode. I can't wait for you to meet Maria Kang. Hello. Good morning, Maria Kang.
Good morning, Kien. How are you doing?
I'm doing super. I am so happy to be on this call with you. I actually just left Eric the Trainer. That's where Maria Kang and I met in LA a few weeks back. And, through our trainer or through a mutual friend, Eric the Trainer. So I really want to thank them for setting us up and getting us chatting. How are you doing this morning? I can see that you're in the car.
Busy. I'm always on the go. So if anyone who follows my stories, like I'm just constantly moving. So I worked out at 5 a.m. this morning.
Ooh,
that's probably the time you worked out too, right?
Well, a little bit later than you. So that's going to be one of the questions I ask you a little bit later. Is what did you do this morning? But how I like to start off the podcast is something called the 5 to Thrive. It's just 5 quick questions, less than a minute each answer. And there's just going to be quick questions so that the audience gets to know you a little bit better and it gets the conversation lubricated. So are you ready to play 5 to Thrive? Question number 1 for you is, what was your favorite childhood activity?
Oh my gosh. Favorite childhood activity would be playing in the backyard, building mud cookies. Very creative.
Mud cookies?
Yes.
Tell me about mud cookies.
I just loved making anything out of mud. Everything, it hardens, right, the next day. And it's so much fun. Great things.
Well, you probably also have an awesome microbiome playing in the mud. Question number 2 is, what brings you most joy right now?
My greatest joy is being with my dog and my children. So I love hanging out with my golden doodle. He's like standard, he's huge, but he's adorable. And I love just walking in nature with him.
And for the audience, I know you have 3 boys. How old are they now? And what are their names?
So I have 3 boys. Their ages 13, 11, and 10. Yeah, usually they're all about 15 to 18 months apart.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I saw a post where you mentioned back in the day your husband would just look at you and you would become pregnant.
Oh my gosh. I gave birth in 2009, 10, 11. I mean, I was literally pregnant for 3 years.
Well, that's awesome. Number three question, and I'm pretty sure lots of people want to know this, but specifically, what did you already do this morning?
Oh my gosh. So I woke up at 4:30 a.m. I did some hot Pilates. Then I meditate. I took a cold shower. Then I
Okay.
meditated. And then I walked my dog. Now I'm at the bank and doing just work. And now I'm with you. So I've been having a very productive 3 hours so far. Oh, and I obviously took my kids to school. We say a gratitude prayer before school. So I'm like all
Oh, that's
about the magical morning, right? So,
Oh, that's
mhm.
beautiful. I'm pretty sure a lot of people just got value just from that alone, and we haven't even started yet. Question number four was, what about a struggle or a challenge you had in life and maybe the lesson that you gleaned from it? Anyone in particular to share?
I've had so many struggles. I don't, from literally being bullied in high school
Mm,
and just throughout my life being bullied, whether it's been dealing with bulimia, having an eating disorder in my 20s,
mm,
or even marital challenges where I literally went to the courthouse and was like, I'm done. And obviously having kids, it's been so challenging. And,
mm,
there's been so multiple challenges, so it's really hard to just choose one. But I will
yeah.
say that it was really not just my faith in myself, but faith in God and
Mm,
believing in a higher power and believing in my ability to control my future based on the way I approached the problem with my positive attitude. So I didn't have control over how people received me. I didn't have any control over what my husband was doing or what my children was doing or
mm,
what was going on in life, but what I did have control over was how I viewed myself and how I had faith in a higher power and that there's a reason why everything happened. There's a purpose behind every pain. So I was always very
yeah.
reflective of what is that? What is this teaching me? Why,
Yeah.
like, and they say this often, life is not, it's always for you. It's not against you. It's always
Yes.
teaching you
Yeah.
something. So I've learned so much and become so much stronger because of every single challenge I've had.
What a great perspective. I mean, it's the Byron Katie quote. Life is simple. It's not happening to you, it's happening
Yes,
for you.
that's it.
And for you to
Like,
be
what is that
able
quote? That's it.
and for you to be able to know actually during the time of the struggle, asking yourself that question, how is this happening for me?
Yes.
I realize that every time I struggle through something, I ask myself that question and it completely reframes me and changes my state.
Mhm.
So last question on the five to thrive. And so far you're doing great. 4,500 points, just to let you know.
Thanks.
This question is, how do you want your kids to remember you?
Oh, that's so interesting. I was having one of my kids was walking with me today, and he was just telling me all the things that are happening in school, including some things that just don't make sense. And I said, "Does that make sense to you?" And he said, "No." And I said, "Well, I'm teaching you common sense. Like you need to learn common sense in this world. Like I want you to. I mean, some people who follow me know I have views that I'm very." strong about in regards to especially education right now. And my
Mm,
big thing for the boys, especially the fact that I've been blessed with three boys. I mean, I could have had girls. Why did I have three boys? Well, I want them to become strong men. I want them to be a servant in their community. I want them to act, especially learn from my role modeling what a good human being looks like. And that's someone who cares about others. And so I hope that they will always remember me as someone who really loved and had passion for the
mm,
people and the things that she did. And I hope that they have that same passion. So when I die one day, and my mother recently passed, and
mm,
God bless her soul, but I also know that she lives inside of me. I felt her this morning when I was meditating.
yeah.
And I just know that if I could, her love lives in me and my love will live in them.
Oh, wow. That's so beautiful. Jeez. 10,000 points, the most anyone who's ever scored in the Five to Thrive. You win.
Oh, come on.
When I come to Sacramento, I'll buy you dinner because of winning this Five to Thrive. Thank you for that. And I think you bring up such an important point about just living a life that's true to you. I know so many parents, and I felt this, a little bit myself because I'm a new dad. I think you need to sacrifice for your kids, and you need to do things for them that takes away the things for yourself. And I would have to say that's probably something we can't do. The best thing we could do for our children is live in such a way that lights us up so that they can do the same. Right?
Yeah. I recently, on TikTok right now, that one video had gone viral. It's like millions of views right now with the 10-year challenge, right? And this is a big judgment that I've had in the last 10 years, which is, you must not be a good mother because you work out, because you look a certain way. People think that, and that's that they have, that's a limitation they have, and I have no judgment, but I will tell you that the best thing you can do for your child, and I've told this to my kids because my husband recently went to Costa Rica, and they said, what's dad doing? I'm like, well, he's working on himself and he's traveling, he's meeting friends. And I said, remember that, boys, when you get older and you have children and you have a family and a wife, you are still a human being, and you were a man before became a role to these people in your life, and you will be that same person once they are on their own. So never forget to service, you, to do you. And ask me all the time, what can I do to raise a healthy child or healthy, have healthy human beings in my life? I'm like, you know what? Start with you. You can't control what anyone else does, but if you could be that light and that role model, they will naturally gravitate towards you or learn from you eventually in the future. So do you guys. That's the only thing you can control is what comes out of your brain, your mouth, and your hands. I mean, it's all about the results that come out of you.
This episode of the Thrive State podcast is brought to you by the Thrive State Accelerator. The Thrive State Accelerator is actually a home course that I developed using the exact same techniques I work with my celebrity clients, CEOs, and executives on how to get them to the Thrive State. The Thrive State Accelerator teaches you how to master your 7 bioenergetic elements. That's sleep, nutrition, movement, stress and emotional mastery, relationships, our thoughts and mindset, as well as purpose. In this Thrive State Accelerator, you're also going to get a bonus module on optimization. That's how I talk about supplementation, peptides, all the optimization techniques I use with my clients to get them to the Thrive State. Now, for some of you who are just joining us for the first time, you guys might be wondering, what is the Thrive State? Well, the Thrive State is actually the energy, the epigenetic environment we give to ourselves, telling our DNA how to act and how to respond. And if we want optimal health, longevity, and peak performance, if we can master these 7 bioenergetic elements, our ability to have those 3 things that we just said, optimal health, longevity, and peak performance, is at its greatest. And it also prevents you from getting chronic symptoms like brain fog, being overweight, feeling sluggish, acne, pain, all these chronic symptoms, as well as preventing you from getting chronic disease. So getting to that Thrive State is really getting to that state to master being that very best version of yourself so you can show up for you, for your family, for your business, everything that's important to you. So go ahead, check it out right now at kienvu.com/accelerator and use coupon code podcast25 for 25% off. Now back to the podcast.
Oh, that's beautiful. You say do you. I have a phrase, you it, or just you it. So you mentioned going viral right now, but I want to take us back because some people might not know you as No Excuse Mom. But you went viral, nearly a decade ago now, yes?
Oh yeah, it was about 9 years ago. I would say it was definitely, the picture was taken a decade ago. And the reason why I went viral is not necessarily just because of the picture. The picture was amazing. I have 3 kids, 3, 2, and 8 months at the time, with a really intriguing, caption, "What's your excuse?" Which I actually back then, no excuses, "What's your excuse?" was a very common phrase. But it went viral because I got a lot of backlash for it. And it was my non-apology that really caught the attention of like CNN and Yahoo and all of the other heavy media outlets that, wanted to cover the story, because I was really saying, sorry, not sorry. I'm not going to apologize for this image because you have a problem with it. It's really the thoughts that are in your head that's creating this, because it was not my intent, pretty much, to piss you off. Whatever you're seeing is whatever you're seeing in your head, pretty much. Right? I'm not in your house telling you you're fat or that you're ugly or that you have to look like me. Whatever you got from the word is really the narrative that you play in your head every day. In fact, I'm really into meditation. I believe strongly in the story that you're telling yourself. We wake up every day with a story in our head, and we really need to address, are we the victim or are we the victor? Are we the hero or are we the, we have to really address these things. And it's so unfortunate when people look at an image or they see a caption and they feel victimized by it. And you really have to ask yourself, why do I feel this way? And how is that serving me? Because when you are not empowering yourself, you're saying that because of this person or this thing or whatever, that's holding you back, when in fact, that's not the case. But keep believing in that excuse, because that's going to keep you exactly where you are.
Oh, that is so good. And I love the fact that you bring up a very important point, is to recognize and become aware of the story that you tell yourself, right? The emotions that we feel, there are things that happen, right? Maybe you made the post said no excuse, or what is your excuse, right? There are things that happen. And then people tell stories to themselves. And based on the stories that they have in their own mind, that's where the emotions come from. Right? You tell yourself an empowering story, you're going to feel good. You can take that same thing, reframe it to a way where you feel like a victim. And here's the thing, biologically, those feelings of anxiety, of stress, of worry, of hate actually raises inflammation. It will lower your immunity, puts you prone to get chronic disease. So you can really change your story and change your health, is what I tell people. Yeah. So amazing. I want to ask you this. I asked you this because I have a few clients that are influencers in the space, and they've gone through like influencer burnout. And I know I feel the same way, since I've gone social. My fiance, she's on a lot of the social channels as well. But I have people, feeling burnt out, like they, constantly need to produce. Some people are telling me, am I the most authentic version of myself when I turn on the camera? Am I hiding something else? And am I not being who I truly am? So question for you is, do you experience any of that? And then if so, how are you managing that?
That's a really good question. And I started a blog in 2005, and I started writing regularly, weekly, starting 15, 16 years ago. I think that consistency always, it's kind of like working out. Are you going to have burnout eventually? Yes. If you don't change it up, if you're running too fast, like, you need to have a variety in your program, right? And you also need to figure out your why. This goes back to, what's your excuse? Like, what's your purpose? Why are you doing this? You have to always go back to your why, whether it's in your social media, your work, your working out, your marriage, all of that. What is your why? So for me, I've been on social media for a pretty long period of time, and I've had steady content that I have. But the reason why I'm able to do what I do is because I really don't think about what other people want from me. I really go from what I want. So if you're on my page and I want to talk about my dog today, you're going to hear it. You know what I mean? If I want to talk about how I feel about COVID today, you're going to hear it. Like, I never feel like I can't breathe. And I think happening with people on social media, where you're living for the likes, you're living for your stats, as you become lost in your followers. And I'm here not only because I want to serve you, but I want to serve myself too. I don't want to lose my process. So in fact, recently, because my mother passed, I took a break. I usually don't take a long break. I always post at least a few times a week, but I took a break, and I took a break from TikTok too. And it felt great. And it doesn't make me feel bad. It's just like working out. You need to take a break. In the long term, my break doesn't mean a lot. I'm always consistent regardless. So what I would say to everybody who is on social, who's trying to build, in fact, I don't think I'm like a major influencer, but I will say that it's important to know that you have to serve yourself, and will change, and that it's okay to change. There's followers will change with you. And if they don't want to, they can leave, because that's and they might come back. So just live for you.
That is so beautiful. I think we found the title of this podcast that I'm going to be repurposing is Live for You. I want to ask you, there's so many people that are out there, moms, parents alike, that might not be in the best shape right now. And they just need to take that very first step. And what I'm hearing is, do you find with a lot of mothers that you're working with that it's maybe forgetting to care for themselves in particular that leads to the health struggles?
I think it's a multiple reasons. Number one, you're dead tired. You're tired. You don't even want to, you don't eat at restaurants. You're not happy. You're not sleeping enough. So that's definitely plays a big role, is the exhaustion that you feel. And you have to be very forgiving of yourself, because you're not always going to feel good. But to be times when you're going to feel great. And that's something you have to consider, is that you might not be feeling good now, but there's going to be times that you got to go for it. That's number one. Number two, I will say this: you are who you hang out with. So if you're hanging around a bunch of tired moms, it gets even worse, because now you're really creating a community and just this energy of people that are just exhausted, right? And that doesn't help you at all. So you need to have people around you that are going to motivate you, which is why I have my No Excuse Mom community, why I follow a lot of healthy minded women out there who are mothers. And then number three, it's really important to, to strive, to continue striving, not just as a mother, but just in other areas. We forget as mothers that we're other people, like we have other priorities in our life outside of just being this everything to this child. So set goals, like dream again, like have some for yourself in the next 5 years. It doesn't have to be in the next 5 months, but it's like, what do you want? Really dream again. So stop thinking of the now, think of the future, and focus on that as well.
Oh, that's so beautiful. I mean, I can say that, back as a man, when I was focusing, not necessarily, I didn't have children 5, 10 years ago, but I was focusing on career. And it was just something that I thought that I needed to do, just excel in career and work harder, that I forgot how to dream. And I'm pretty sure, for women who have careers or who have families, their attention goes there and they forget about how to dream themselves. Do you have any, tips as to how to get somebody to just kickstart that dreaming process again?
I love what you're focusing here, which is dreaming, because it always starts with a desire. Remember, everything begins with a thought, and realizing that I don't want to be here. That's the first step to getting to a different island, right? Is realizing I don't want to be on this island anymore. I want to start traveling. I want to start building a boat and getting off this. But the only way, and that's the difficult part, is realizing I'm not happy or I'm not content. And that nobody wants to feel like that, but you have to feel that discomfort in order to grow. And so my big tip for that is just to go back and daydream. We used to do that all the time. Just daydream. Just think about, write it down. I've had a journal since I was in 4th grade. So write down how you feel and what you want. I guarantee you that you will achieve whatever you're about to write down today. And I hope everyone because I have written down so much stuff, some crazy stuff. And of course, it doesn't happen when I want it to happen. I always want it within a year. But eventually it does happen. And like, for example, I said I wanted to be an author since I was like probably since 7th grade, and I finally wrote my first book at 33, but I was always an author. Like I started blogging when I was 25. I got my first poem published when I was in 6th grade. So I was always writing. You have to be and have actions of the person you want to become. So start dreaming by daydreaming, just thinking like, I love this, and write it down and manifest that, and make that writing that first step to manifestation.
Oh, that's so good. And I just want to add to that. When you start to dream, just start maybe doing some things that bring you joy, because your energetic state, your emotional states will like turn on the radar for more positive thoughts to go into your life, right? And also, let's not forget the physical stuff. If you're eating better, when you're sleeping, and when you're moving, and when you're exercising, that also brings up your state. So if you feel like you're not, dreaming, worry about the physical stuff and just start, and just maybe start doing the things that you enjoy. I love the fact that you talked about your No Excuse Mom community. How do people find out more about that or join that?
So go to noexcusemom.com. We have hundreds of groups. They're free groups for mothers. If you want to be a leader, which I always recommend leading, because that's a different level of accountability. And I always tell people you need to train right, eat right for your personality type. And my personality type is I won't show up for myself, but I'll show up for others. And when I show up for others, I'm working out at the same time. So awesome, like 2 birds in 1 stone. So they go to noexcusemom.com. You can find your local community there, or you can sign up to be a leader.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. Definitely check out Maria Kang. And, my last question for you is, everything you've gone through in life, all of the things that you've experienced so far, what has been your best medicine?
The best medicine, I'll say it right now, is breath work. It's amazing when you close your eyes and you don't think of anything at all. So I would suggest to everyone out there to, and you know, you hear it all the time, you should meditate more, you should meditate. And you know, for years I heard it and I didn't understand why it was important until I actually did it and I did it well. And now I can really lock into who I am and understand, have daily happiness and purpose and just peace of mind because I'm able to ground myself and my spirit and through my breath work and meditation. So that's been my best medicine. Right.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing. And thank you for being on the Thrive State Podcast, IG Live Edition.
I hope you enjoyed that episode of the Thrive State Podcast. And if this podcast is bringing a lot of value to you, if you find that your life is just improving with this podcast, that your life is getting to the next level, please consider supporting it. And here's a few ways you can do so. You can do so by liking this video and commenting on this video, and also sharing this video with your friends and family. Another thing you can do is go to ratethispodcast.com/ThriveState. Go ahead and leave us a 5-star review there. It will really, really help this show grow. And this will give me more time so that I could actually give more content to you, just like you got in this episode. And if you haven't already picked up a copy of my book, Thrive State, Your Blueprint for Optimal Health, Longevity, and Peak Performance, you can pick it up now. It became a #1 new release in longevity. Go to thrivestatebook.com. And if you enjoy the book, please consider leaving us a review as well. And the last thing you can do, if you're liking everything here and you want to work more closely with me as well as my team to get you into the Thrive State, go to kienvu.com/accelerator and consider joining the home course, the Thrive State Accelerator. It's really the course that I use. It's the concepts that I use personally when I work with CEOs, celebrities, and my high-profile clients to get them to the Thrive State. Again, the Thrive State Accelerator at kienvu.com/accelerator. And because you're a listener of this podcast, I want you to save 25% by using the coupon code podcast25. I hope we continue to give value to you. And remember always, you are your best medicine.